Hello, everyone. One of my students reminded me that I have not posted anything for a week, so I'm going to post something. The holidays are coming up. It's time to look at some interesting chess games, and we will return back to the series won from the world champions. And we'll go and look at the game by world champion number three, Jose Raul Capablanca. Capablanca was a very good player. If you make a list, and people usually do, of the best players of all time, Capablanca usually appears on that list. The other interesting thing about Capablanca is there are usually questions. If you invent a time machine and bring various world champions to the year 2020, and let's pretend there is no coronavirus and chess tournaments actually happen. The question is, how would they do? And the consensus is that Capablanca would actually do quite well. Capablanca was a very accurate player. He tried to avoid crazy positions. He was good at tactics, but he preferred games where he could just outplay his opponent uh, by uh, by using strategy, by using positional chess, by making sure that his pieces were doing what they were supposed to do, and he is also considered to be a master of the endgame. The game which we will look at, um, he actually won before it got to the end game. But it's a really interesting game. We might look at a second Capablanca game. There is a really famous end game in which he played against Tartakova, which is worth looking at. But this game is more tactical and also more interesting. So this is a game he played against someone by the last name Fonarov, and the game starts e4, e5, uh, knight f3, knight c6, and d4. The Scotch. Okay, the main move is to take, but black decides to play this move. We do have an option of taking the pawn, and in the end of this whole thing, we do get a queen trade, but black is okay. His king is in the middle, but there are no queens on the board, so the king will be very much okay there. So Capablanca decides to keep more pieces on the board. It develops the knight, black develops his knight, and now we have a four knights opening. Uh, the Scotch variation of that. Okay, and white plays bishop b5. Okay, white has some dreams. For example, he can try to win the pawn now because of the spin. D5 might be interesting, but it doesn't work so well. Um, Although it could work also because d5 a6. The logic is if white takes, black takes here. White takes, black takes here, and although white gets this pawn, let me show you on the board. Let's give black a completely nonsense move. H. Okay, so d5. It looks like white is winning a piece, but he's not because of a6. And the logic is if white drops back, black will play b5, and white can actually sacrifice the knight in that line, which is probably good. Um, but if white just takes, black takes, white takes, black takes, and although this pawn is falling, so is this pawn. At any rate, let's get back to the game. In the game, obviously h6 was not played. This is a threat, and this is quite annoying. So black deals with both of those issues. Bishop d7. This is not pinned anymore. And the question, of course, is can white take and then take the pawn? And the answer is it doesn't actually win a pawn because after black takes, he's hitting this pawn twice. And so although white gets this pawn, black gets this one. So Capablanca does not take, he castles. Black develops his bishop, gets ready to castle. His structure is solid but very, very passive. And Capablanca plays rook e1, which looks weird, but if you remember our discussion on this move, you will know the purpose of rook e1, which is to defend the pawn, which means that now white is actually threatening to take. And so some trades happened. Black took, Capablanca took back, obviously. Um, Black took, Capablanca took back, Black took, and Capablanca took back. Okay, Black is happy because he traded a couple of his pieces. He had less space, so trading was good, but White still has an advantage. He has better control of the center, he has a better bishop, he's already castled, he has better development. So let's see what happens. Black castles. And now Capablanca asks himself, where do I want my pieces to be? And he realizes that maybe he might be able to attack the black king. For that to happen, his queen probably needs to be somewhere here. His knight would love to be on this square. And this is important. When you're playing chess, you need to come up with a plan. You won't always be able to come up with one. But it's a good idea to try. And as a part of that plan, you need to figure out where do I want my pieces to be. So let's say if we look at this knight, where do you want it to be? Well, the best squares is this, because it hits over here. Where do we want our queen to be? Well, it's okay over here, of course, but it could be better here, especially if we have a knight here and this possibility. Okay, and now Capablanca comes up with a good way to get pieces across. So first, he plays queen c3, double attacking the pawn, but also getting ready to play here, and also freeing up this square for the knight. So this is a very, very, very nice move. This is what I meant when I said Capablanca was very good at playing positional chess, figure out where exactly the pieces should go. Black saves the pawn c6. Obviously, the knight goes to d4 because he's going to f5. Black decides to reposition his pieces. His bishop is not very good. He can't go anywhere. So he plays knight d7 because he wants to get the bishop on this diagonal. And then the knight will go either here or here. It's a good maneuver. Okay. White continues with his plan of knight f5. For the time being, of course, we're threatening a checkmate. But, of course, it gets stopped. Bishop f6, attacking the queen, also covers the pawn just in case. The queen goes to g3, as expected. And black puts his knight on a beautiful e5 square. This pawn was attacked, so black improves the knight. And now, well, it doesn't seem like this works, although we would be triple attacking. But black can always just drop the knight back. A lot of people in this position would automatically play f4, which is not a bad move. But Capablanca plays a different move. Plays bishop f4. What's the point? Well, there are some tactical ideas, and he is getting ready to bring the rook into the game. Okay, queen c7. Black connects his rooks. It seems to make sense. And white brings in more pressure, and black defends. And now the fun begins. Capablanca, as I mentioned already, was not known for tactics, but this next move is quite impressive. He sacrifices. Okay, so what in the world is happening? Well, black took, because what else? Well, the point behind taking, by the way, is he gets rid of the defender of this knight, And he also cuts off the second defender of this knight. So that's kind of important, because now after black takes, Capablanca can take here. And the logic is, if black takes back. So first of all, we're attacking this rook enormous amount of times. But if black takes, we take here, and we're threatening a checkmate, but also we're hitting the rook, and the rook cannot move to g6 because there is a free queen. So that creates issues. But black comes up with a beautiful move, which actually, for now, pretty much saves everything. I'm going to pause and see if you can figure out what that move is. And the truly beautiful move is rook d1. It's really cool. So obviously we're throwing checkmate. And obviously black opens up over here. Okay, white Capablanca took. Black takes, and black is down a pawn, but black is arguing I have a good bishop. I'm pointing here. I'm pointing here. And okay, maybe I will survive. And now I'm going to pause, and here Capablanca, by calculating, by looking ahead, he finds a beautiful winning idea. And you have to think several moves ahead to figure it out. So do your best. And the movie is truly, truly, truly beautiful. It starts with knight h6. Knight h6 is simple. Everyone would see knight h6. The question is, okay, you checked, congratulations. What happens next? And what happens next is kind of cool. So, because at first it looks terrible, because your queen is still attacked and now your knight is attacked. But the logic is, Capablanca realizes if he clears off the back rank, he can checkmate. And so he comes up with an idea after this check, and king here. He takes the bishop. After takes, back he forks. And the point is, if black takes the knight, this is checkmate. If black doesn't take the knight, well, he's losing his queen. So let's look on the board. So knight here, king h8 is the only move. Black doesn't have to take, but he's down a piece. And notice he cannot take here because of the pin. And after queen here, knight here, and white is winning. Here black resigned, and the logic is if black takes, we have a checkmate, and otherwise, well, that's queen. Very, very beautiful game by Capablanca. The key lesson which you should take away from this game is you need, when you're playing chess, you need to look at your pieces. You need to ask yourself, where would I want these pieces to be? And the second question is, can I actually get them there? And this is what Capablanca did, and this is how he won. I wish you happy holidays. Please like, please subscribe, and more exciting material will appear shortly. Thank you.